With that, welcome to the live stream, everybody. Happy Wedge Wednesday. And I figure today feels like a good day to take a quick look at current market conditions, see what the MDX ALGO indicators are saying, go over some trading strategies I use with the indicators. One in particular that I've been talking about in the Discord a lot. I like to use it while I'm scalping personally. Maybe we'll even get lucky enough to find a degen scalp or two. It's hard to say. These streams are generally kept quite short, only about an hour. So yeah, sometimes they end up being about 4 hours, but that's okay. But like I was saying earlier, feel free to ask any questions about my indicator settings or the features or questions in general. I'll do my best to answer them. But to start things off, what I always like to do is kind of look at the overall health of Bitcoin. I have basically had this downward sloping red resistance line and this red and yellow box. These are all areas I was watching at the time and acted as very strong resistance every time that these levels were hit. One thing that I do see going for Bitcoin right now that could be a potential bullish setup would be, I know a lot of people are watching this upward sloping trend line. I know me and MDX Crypto have both been pointing out this trend line for quite a long time now. I would actually be shocked if we didn't get a third touch point of this trend line at some point. Yeah, it could be front run a little bit, but I think the writing's on the wall that eventually we're going to test this line. I have to see how we react with that line. I'm going to be watching it on shorter time frames. If we just get some kind of a wick down but closing candle bodies above this line, I'm going to treat it like it's a bit of a failed break because, for one, if we break it after, I'm only going to consider this one touch point. Yes, it's touched a whole bunch of times, but that's just kind of one cluster. Here would be our second cluster, and I love 3 exact touch points before I trade the breakout of a trend line. That's just something I've backtested personally and I like to do. If we got just a straight up breakdown on our third attempt of touching this line, I'm just really thinking that there might be some kind of a fake out. Ideally, we get a perfect touch point there and then end up breaking back into this wedge, because generally speaking, these wedges, falling wedge like this, we all know that these are generally a bullish pattern that break to the upside. It doesn't always happen that way, and today is a perfect example that after the FOMC meeting, it sparked volatility. We're dumping right through that level. But again, there is always the chance that this is some kind of just a fake out of that wedge, retest the support line that I've been waiting for it feels like months at this time, definitely weeks. And if we kind of reclaim this wedge, I think we might actually see some momentum where the bulls could actually step in and we might see this market get very juicy to the upside. But these are all important levels, you guys. These are the levels I'm watching. Like I said, if we get a third touch point of this line and then we break it, I'm going to be looking for a rejection on the retest. I think that at that point, I think the market's in a very scary place, because that would also, if we got some kind of a dead cat bounce like that, this is all theoretical at this point, but watch for some kind of a retest there that maybe also gets a retest of that lower high structure, because obviously we'd be breaking some of these highs here. So that could just be an interesting structure change where then we start having some significant downside action, if you ask me. I think that's where we start watching for support kind of down all the way, getting close to 20K in reality. I think that we could absolutely see a very violent sell-off if we do get that breakout of that trend line. So I think that's a level we definitely want to keep our eyes on. I know a lot of analysts are watching this level, I think for good reason. So like I said, just keep an eye on it. Let's just see what the indicators are saying. You guys will notice that, I talk about this on every video, that I actually keep my charts quite clean. I love these indicators, but I have specific ways that I personally like to use them. I don't even have the long and short signals on, generally speaking, when I'm looking at the charts. I like choosing my own entries. That's just me personally. And I love these reversal warnings, and that would be these orange W's here. In your MDX ALGO 3 settings, that would be your reversal warnings. So that's all these orange W's here. And they can be so helpful when pointing out a trend, because, obviously what you want to see in a trend, if it's a downtrend, you want to see lower highs, lower lows. In an uptrend, obviously higher highs, and higher lows. And these W's can really help emphasize that. I mean, if you really see, and not only just emphasizing which way the trend is going, but also just looking for a bit of a reversal as well, can happen quite often. But yeah, basically what I mean by that is if we look at this, I mean, we had a beautiful uptrending market, obviously. If we look back here, we had higher highs showing up on these W's just constantly. They were just ending up a little bit higher every single W that we got. And same with on the bottom side. Obviously, we had this bullish pivot, higher, higher, higher. So you can see that they just really help point out the trend for you. And then, I mean, look how beautiful of a call this reversal would have been. Yeah, you might have got in a little bit late or whatever, but you look at this reversal here where the top W's change directions here. I mean, that is basically, that's a perfect play. I mean, that's an absolutely perfect call right there. You have your stop loss. Generally speaking, when I play this, I mean, I usually use it on the 1 minute or the 5 minute because I'm a total degen like that. But it obviously, I mean, strategies can work the same on multiple time frames, right? Charts basically act the same on every time frame. So you just got to make sure when you're looking to take profits and stuff, you're treating the trade for what it is. You're not entering on a 1 minute looking for a 4 hour kind of a move, right? Just be aware of what time frame you're trading. But yeah, these were absolutely beautiful. You can see that our top W's just kept trending to the downside. Every time we got a lower one, we just got some kind of a significant pullback. So yeah, here we get a second one. Big harsh rejection all the way to down here. I mean, getting right back into this cluster of support, so easy take profit zone. This one again, just straight to the downside after getting a lower W once again. And basically, as soon as I see any reason to get out of a trade is when I start taking profits. So I mean, in this case, if I was trading the 4 hour, obviously I have my reversal warnings here. I'm still bearish on this trend because we have lower highs being set there. But I mean, that's a beautiful reason to kind of start taking profits on your position. Once again, we get another lower W. Beautiful call to the downside. Easy money right there. Even this one, yes, it was a little one, but you had plenty of time to get out of the market in a juicy profit with that call. And I mean, basically the only time that reversed in this little trend here would have been right here. But quite honestly, you guys, well, that one was a success too, because we had this higher one. Was that even higher? It was actually basically a double top. So I guess one like this would have eventually failed. But obviously it's not going to be perfect, right, guys? When I'm talking about strategies like this, just like any strategy, any indicator, it's never going to be absolutely perfect. But as far as looking for confluence, I find this to be such a powerful tool lately. It really helps me kind of choose the direction that I want to start looking for entries at the very least. So yeah, that's a strategy I've been kind of using in the altcoins lately. I was using it on Solana earlier. I had posted after I took this one after I had already closed my position. But here's an example of a scalp on a 1 minute chart that I took earlier today. Here we had our warning. You can see that here we had our W, we had a higher W, but then we got this lower W. So it was just a little bit of a warning that we may start trending to the downside. So that's where I'm looking for the confirmation of seeing my second lower high kind of a thing. So that's where the tops also reversed. So we got our reversal on the bottoms. We also got this lower high. So that's where I decided to take a short. Gave this a little wiggle room, basically just set my stop loss a little bit above the previous W there. And to be quite honest, I wasn't expecting it to just dump off a cliff here. I did take a little bit of profits when I saw this, especially that we were along this trend here. And I fully closed my position when I saw this, just because I felt like on a 1 minute, we're probably getting overextended. I got the bright green candles. I got a reversal warning like this. I just wanted to lock in some profits and be safe about it. But yeah, so even here, as far as looking for a very degen scalp, here's another example of we just have a W, a lower high. And yeah, it was very quick. It's a 1 minute scalp, but obviously right here we had our exit signal. So once again, a play that would have worked out there had a guy taken it. So a very interesting strategy, you guys. I've been watching it quite a lot recently, and it's been so good at spotting reversals in the market, and I think that's a very powerful tool moving forwards. Again, it's not going to work out every time. You still want to look at your other analysis. I guess I should mention another thing that went with this was the other indicators, because I also mention quite often that I like when the MDX Algo 3, the oscillator 4, and the oscillator 5 all line up together, and this is what happened here as well. You can see the oscillator 4 up here got this bearish pivot right here. That's that yellow diamond there. And as well, the oscillator 5 down here, we got our big red overbought dots there. So that was all kind of lining up with this lower high reversal warning there. So all just kind of lining up for a beautiful snipe there. Win rate using this strategy. I honestly haven't been recording how often it's working compared to not, but it's I would say over 50% that I've been playing it with, but I am also looking at other things, right? Kind of like what I just said with the like when I get this type of a setup with your lower highs, your bearish pivots kind of all lining up together, it has been very accurate. I have been very happy with that, because not only you got to look at more than the success rate, although it has been a good percentage. You can go back in the charts too and back test it, because just look at it, go back, use your replay function, and kind of go back and see how often it works versus not. But you also have to look at the risk reward on top of that. So, I mean, when you look at this kind of a play, quite often when you're getting a reversal like this, especially when you're seeing it first happen with these confirmations, I mean, they've been quite juicy moves. And in this case, I think it was something like a 5-to-1 risk reward. So, I mean, it can be a very powerful strategy. I should probably start journaling it. This is, like, honestly, I haven't been using this strategy for very long, so I should probably go back and either back test it or just start journaling my trades with it, and get an exact mathematical figure so that I know exactly how often it's going to play out. That is something I should do, but honestly, I've only been doing this, and with small trades as well, usually high leverage small trades. But yeah, I don't know. I've been really liking this strategy recently. I've been probably using it for a month, if that. But it is important to do your own back testing as well. Like maybe something catches my eye that doesn't catch yours, or something catches yours slightly different. Like we could have the exact same charts, the exact same indicators, the same settings, and we could trade the charts completely different. So it is, I always say that it's super important to do some back testing. Use that replay feature if you have a paid version of TradingView. Just go back, random spot, and start looking for a trade setup that you think that, you know, I always see this play out. I'm going to go back and see how often it actually plays out. And it's like you're doing it real time kind of a thing. And also important to, if you are doing back testing, do it on whatever time frame you're planning on trading it, because different time frames can act different as well. Like right here, we're getting a bit of a warning here. We do have this reversal warning, and we have a very slightly higher one here. I would like to see a higher W come in here. This one was such a long... I don't really want to count this one right now, just because we would have missed this entry anyways. But I would like to see another, especially if it's just a slightly higher W. That's where you can get a very tight stop loss. So if we get another, you know, we get a higher bullish W somewhere way up here, then it just makes choosing a stop loss a little harder. I mean, then you're kind of going by structure rather than the previous signal, which is what I would typically do with this strategy. So I like it when they're fairly close. Like I was talking about with this trade up here, that was the thing that was so appealing to it, I guess, is these were quite tight. long from 24,900. I can't help but feel we are going to break out quite a bit lower. Like, here's the thing. Even if we look at a horizontal level here, we obviously tested this twice perfectly. If we get a candle body close below both of these trend lines, I mean, I don't really see it taking long to get back down towards this diagonal line. Not only that, but it also, we do have that bit of support from back here too. So that horizontal support kind of lines up with that diagonal support, which is nice. But when will it happen? Maybe, I mean, obviously, maybe it won't at all. Maybe we blast right through this. Maybe we just get a fake out here and we close back above here and absolutely blast off with this wedge. We're going to have to see. I generally trade shorter time frames anyways, but let's see what Bitcoin's saying with those indicators. There was a nice little double bottom back here. Right here, we do have the lower W's, but we have these ones as higher, so they're not really agreeing on the trend right now. It seems like they're just going to coil up a little bit. Yeah, does that make sense, you guys? Just like, because even right now, we obviously have these lower highs being set because these W's, each one is still lower than the last. But there is a little bit of a warning signal here on why not to take that long, or that short rather, because we do have this W and we do have a slightly higher W. So there's just a little bit of mixed signals there, just showing that there might be a bit of a reversal. So now if we get a higher W on the top, that's where things would maybe start getting a little bit interesting, start looking for a long position. Nice. Oh yeah, I love a good degen session, don't get me wrong. Look at FTM. Yeah, I'll check out FTM in a minute here. Yeah, you know, honestly, that's something I was going to mention. Because as I was talking about that diagonal line, I mean, me, MDX, I mean, a whole bunch of other analysts, everyone on social media, a lot of people are looking at this diagonal trend line. I agree. That's one very good reason why it may not play out. But the thing is, that's where it's important to watch how levels are reacted with, right? I think it's more important to be able to react than predict. I say that quite often as well. And what I mean by that is I'm not just going to set a limit order at this level. I don't like taking blind limit orders. I like to see how the level's respected. So I'd rather do something like this. I will add an alert on the trend line to go once per minute. And that way my phone's going to let me know if we interact with that level, I am going to see what happens. And if we start seeing just like, let's say, a candle wick on a shorter time frame, like a 1 minute, 5 minute, we get some kind of a fake out on a shorter time frame, that's where I will be looking to long the hell out of that level. If we just blast right through it, I have no intentions of just setting blind orders there. I generally don't do that. I know Kieran will often talk about that in his lessons as well. He doesn't really like doing the blind order thing. It's, yeah, I just think it's way more important to watch what happens at those levels because obviously trend lines break, right? FTM. FTM long from 23.5. What? Doesn't even go that low on my chart. Oh, unless you mean way before. Oh, and that's a thing too, is the market could absolutely front run that diagonal line where everyone with those, even the people with the blind orders set there, don't end up getting in. That, I mean, absolutely, that's a possibility. I think at that point, that's where we start watching the fake out of this wedge, this red wedge that I have outlined. We can get back into that and hopefully flip that support into support once again and carry some momentum. I think that chart pattern could still technically be in play. That's the thing, and honestly, that's why I love shorter time frames, because then I can use things like this strategy, for example, just kind of looking for a bullish reversal a little early. Just trying to, even if I think I might be early, you know, you can kind of get into a scalp and hope it turns into a swing. That's personally how I like to trade. It's not for everybody, but I personally like to go on the shorter time frames, like the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and I'm very quick to close half my position. And then after that, I like to leave some run. I love to catch a runner. That's obviously what you want. You want a nice, juicy position that runs for a long time. But realistically, if I'm trading a 1 minute or a 5 minute, I'm not expecting a 4-hour move, but I also want to be ready if it does happen. So that's where, like I said, I'm quick to take profits and risk off the table, but then leaving some run, because I've got into some very juicy positions that way. Yeah. FTM. I am on Bybit perpetuals. When did you get into that long position? Like just now? Or like just recently? Because on... Because it hasn't been down at 235 since like way back here. Unless you are in a nice swing. Or did you have a typo? Or did you mean 245? Like this definitely has that warning, right? We have actually all the way from back at this one. Each one of these W's, the bearish ones, have all been just setting, they're just setting higher. So that is a bit of a warning that it might be going to the upside. It would be nice to see a higher W come into play here on the bottom side. But quite often this is a very good early reversal warning. It's also nice to see the trend below us here. The what would that be? I think that's my 5 minute. Yeah, this would be my 5 minute trend. And this would be my hourly trend. Sorry, let me just open your thing here. Oh, you're in that long from a couple days ago, hey? Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah, that explains a lot. I thought you were just on the degen timeframes, like from this recent dump here. Yeah, no, you're in a good position from a ways back. I guess in that case I should look at a longer time frame, hey? We actually have that set up on the 1 hour. We do have higher W's, higher W's. As it stands right now, that's warning of a potential bullish play for sure. I guess you're already in a safe position anyways, but very nice that it also found support on the bottom of this green cloud with a reversal warning there. 5-minute trend below us. Yeah, that's not looking so bad. Also, even just looking at basic market structure here, let's say on the 5-minute, this is, again, we also have higher W's on the 5-minute. Just a little bit of a warning for a potential move to the upside. We do have this red cloud of resistance here, but one thing I like about this, looking at a very degen level, once again, looking at the 5-minute, we had this low, we have a lower low, we have a lower low. We got above this structure here, so we kind of reversed that a little bit. I'd still like to see the price get above this little bit of cluster back here. But that's not looking so bad. I'm hoping that trend can actually carry us to the upside. If we got a nice bullish cross of the hourly and the 5-minute trends as well, that's what I'm using right now currently. See a bullish cross of those would be very nice for that. Something to be cautious of on the other end of things. A little bit of mixed signals here. We have this potential top here on the indicator. Obviously, they don't play out every time. Like here, we still just pump to the upside. But it is something to be a little bit cautious of. What are the other indicators saying? Ooh, yeah, that does look a little sketchy. I don't like that we have a hidden bearish divergence on the oscillator 4. We have a hidden bearish divergence and a regular bearish divergence. And this overbought conditions all kind of lining up at that resistance cloud. Yeah, I don't know. That downtrend might be a thing. Really, you need this price for this to turn bullish again? I think you kind of need to get kind of break out past that box. Otherwise, this downtrend is still kind of intact. Hopefully you have taken some profits off of your position. That was a very nice pump that you would have caught. Like I said, I'm very quick to start taking profits on my positions, so I definitely would have. And then I would let the rest generally run with a stop loss at break even, just so I can, if I see the opportunity, I can add back into my position with a little less risk by having a better entry with a previous position open. But I definitely like to take, well, at least half of my profits relatively quick. But I am more of a scalper than a swing trader. You guys have probably noticed that. This is looking good. Again, I would like a higher W from here just because it would be in line with these higher W's here. But we do technically still have that. We do have this green box here. We have this, this would be the 5-minute trend here. Volume weighted moving average. So there is some nice support for Solana there. Ideally, I would like a pull back towards the bottom of the green box and see a higher W come in. That's where I'd feel a little more confident, but this isn't looking so bad. Is anyone else in any positions? I know a couple of you guys had mentioned yours, but what are you guys mostly trading? Are you mostly trading Bitcoin, altcoins, micro caps? Bitcoin's been fairly slow moving recently, I've thought. I mean, actually, that's a pretty good move today. But I've been mostly focusing on altcoins myself. After the whole SEC Binance securities debacle there, I started focusing more on like Solana and Matic a little more, just because they're coins I know, and I figured they were going to be super volatile after being deemed securities like that. A lot of uncertainty there, and that generally sparks a lot of volatility, whether it's for the bears or for the bulls or both. Just volatile in general. So I've been watching those. Before that, I was watching Pepe a lot, just because again it was just so volatile compared to Bitcoin. So, but really, for the most part, I mean, altcoins are just Bitcoin with more leverage. Like, they're basically Bitcoin with leverage automatically on, because generally speaking, the market's going to move together. I'm tempted to ladder in a bit of a long at this level, just because of this potential reversal here, but I'm just not quite ready at this level. I'm probably going to regret this. To me, it looks like it does have a bunch of support, but I'd like to see us pull deeper into this green box just to get a tighter stop loss, but like I said, might end up regretting that.
It's 7:46.
Oh, someone's on the air. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have a good night, dude. Thanks for tuning in. I know it's super late for some of you guys. This line, no, that's not the VWAP. That would be. Oops. That would be my trend one. That is the 5 minute volume weighted moving average. Unless that I don't generally use the VWAP. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But yeah, this green line here, that would be the 5 minute volume weighted moving average. And up here, this red one would be my 1 hour EMA. There's no magic numbers that particularly work with these indicators way better than others, as far as I've noticed. It's just, this is how I've been using it for quite a while, and I'm just kind of comfortable to those. So that's just what I've been using in my settings. Let's just take a look at trade setup. Let's bring this up and see what the indicator's saying right now. Oh, it actually hit its second take profit already. What about Bitcoin? What is the corn doing here? I'm tempted to take a little long on Bitcoin, actually. Oh, fuck, it's way back there. Well, it nailed that. Nailed that call on the 1 minute. Oh, that was a nice trade. That's the 5 minute trade setup on the Algo 3. That is beautiful. Just nailed the third take profit perfectly. You know that strategy I was just talking about with the W's? Something that I was interested in trying out as well, or going back and back testing, is doing it with other signals with the indicators. Like here, for example, we have this bottom here and we have a higher bottom here. I'm interested to see. I assume it would work very much the same, that as you just have signals just pointing out higher lows, higher highs, lower lows, that kind of thing. Using them in that way. I assume these could be used the same way. So in theory, this should be trending to the upside with the stop loss kind of somewhere under there. I don't know if I want to take that because I have not tested that theory whatsoever. That's just kind of a thought that I had today. Boom. There you go. Solana hit that third take profit there. So once again, guys, just seeing just that warning that there's a good chance things are going to start reversing to the upside, because I mean, here we obviously had a lower W, and as soon as that W we got a higher one, it was hinting at this move to the upside. It played out beautifully. So like I said, it's just definitely worth keeping on your radar as far as Confluence goes, even if you're not comfortable trading that specifically. Like I said, it's always important to do your own analysis as well and everything, but as far as that strategy goes, it's very good Confluence for when kind of picking a direction in the market, I've found. And you always want to trade with the trend as well, right? So, I mean, just having something help keep your eyes on it, like just how clearly this does outline the higher highs, the higher lows, that kind of thing. It just really helps outline where the trend is at. So I've been finding this super useful lately. Another thing I like to do, as you can see, I'm just bringing Fibonacci's from previous structure levels. Another thing I like to look for is in my scalping strategies is the 786 and 886 Fibonacci's, when you can start seeing confluence around those levels. And actually, this may have been one of those times where a reversal warning near my favorite Fibonacci rejection pocket there might have also been a great call there, but it wasn't quite in there. Personally, I'd rather have it have come right up in here. Got a bunch of very red candles with a reversal warning. I would think that, maybe we're starting to see some resistance at these levels back here. Totally different strategy there. But just another thing that I like to use as confluence would be the Fibonacci's. So with Solana right now, for example, still on the 1 minute, but we have this low here, we have this lower low here. Highest point between those two is right here. And you can see that even though it has just been very briefly back here and as well right now, we have broke that level. So technically the structure on this 1 minute chart has changed and does look a little bit bullish there. And that would be one of those times where, it does look bullish, or at least temporarily bullish, that this structure at least changed. But when I'm looking for pullbacks, that's where, I'm not expecting it to just break this level and then automatically shoot to the moon, right? Sometimes you're going to see some kind of a pullback. So if I'm looking for a bit of a pullback on this trend, if right now we've temporarily topped out, that's kind of where I start watching these levels again. If we're going to get some kind of a pullback, because the structure doesn't get invalidated until this level is broken, at that point, then I think it's back onto a downtrend there. But as it stands right now, I would love to see a pullback into kind of this pocket and see how that level is reacted with as well. Just another little bit of a strategy I look for with scalping is just that Fibonacci pocket. Again, not setting just blind limit orders or anything like that. Just kind of seeing how the market reacts with that level. If you start getting like double bottoms, when you get some reversal warnings, bright green candles, you start getting bullish pivots on the oscillators, anything like that. That's where you can start seeing everything kind of lining up together for a potential scalp. And also at that point, obviously you can have a tighter stop loss then too, right? Because I mean, if you're saying that, okay, this level broke here, so I want to go long, it's not invalidated until way down here. That's a pretty loose stop loss you need until invalidation. Whereas if you can get that pullback into that Fibonacci pocket, all of a sudden your stop loss is much tighter. But obviously depends what strategy you're using. Like this, for example, if I was just playing this swing in particular, this would be our high, higher high. This would then be our higher low. So if we were to find some kind of support here, that would be a level of interest. I'd want to go long. If we get closes below that level, I would start looking for a bounce to short at that point. MDX does have a video tutorial. I can't remember if it's on the dashboard or on his YouTube. I'll have to try and find that for you later. All I've really done is, when I wanted to kind of find out what everything was, is I just turned everything off and I just slowly added everything in to watch how the chart changes and just find out that way. But yeah, it would be super useful to have more of like just a super simple description or whatever, explaining everything simply. I think he does have one. Check the MDX ALGO dashboard. It might be on there. Here we have a high, higher high. This W down here would be our current higher low on a little bit bigger of a swing than this little one I was just talking about. That is a level I'm interested in watching. Does that make sense, guys? All like these few strategies I talked about. Hopefully I explained things clearly. Let me know if I didn't. Yeah, I'd still like to see a higher W come in on Bitcoin. This is just the 1 minute as far as a quick scalp goes. Solana kind of thinking the same thing. I would really like to see a higher W come in here. I mean, generally speaking, the markets are typically going to move together, right? So This would definitely, like, if I get into a position like this, like I said, I'm not entering a 1 minute looking for a 4 hour type of move. On the 4 hour, I'm actually quite bearish as it stands right now, unless we reclaim that wedge support, basically. As it stands right now, I really can't shake the feeling that we're heading towards 24,000. I think that absolutely makes sense, but when it'll happen, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking in the next few days. Doesn't have to happen because obviously a 4 hour chart takes a little dead cat bounce. I mean, that in its own can take a couple days, so it's a little bit longer of a play on the go here. That was yeah, the 4 hour actually got a beautiful call as well with this indicator. Beautiful entry right here. Got a little bit of a bounce, but not even a third of the way to the stop loss, and then hit the first take profit. So that's in a beautiful play right now. I don't use this feature too often, but I really should watch it on longer time frames when I look for scalps. I think I might start leaving that up on my longer term Bitcoin chart, like the 4 hour like this, just to kind of see which way I should maybe be focusing on. Once again, just easier to spot the trend when you have another set of eyes, basically. Yeah, I'm going to be wrapping up here soon too. Not a heck of a lot is going on, so I think I'll probably be going to edit my video that was shorter and more to the point about this strategy in particular. I got to go edit that here, so I might take off too, you guys. Hopefully this all made sense to you. If you have any last minute questions, by all means, feel free. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about this strategy a little bit today because a lot of people in the chat have been asking me about it, and it's just always easier to explain live rather than posting a million pictures and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys found it useful. Like I said, I always post other stuff, or if you miss the videos or my streams or anything, I always post it on my YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe. Other than that, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. If you guys are here watching on my YouTube channel a few hours later, this is just something that we do in the MDX crypto Discord. Quite often there's live streams. I think every day there's several coaches. You get access to these beautiful indicators. I absolutely love them. So if you appreciate getting this insight into our private streams, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. With that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.